we've got your Raiders covered.
Knock on wood if you're with me.
This is Silver and Black Tonight on CBS Sports Radio 1140. And now, here's your host, Scott Gobranson.
Welcome back to the Silver and Black Tonight here on CBS Sports Radio 1140, coming to you live from Findlay Toyota in Henderson in the Auto Mall. Come on out. I'm looking at some pretty cool cars here. They got everything you need. Come on down and see our friends at Findlay Toyota. They're hosting us.
Toyotathon is on.
Yes, and they let Chaz in the building after the famous Highlander through the window incident. No,
my first car was a Toyota Celica.
It was a Celica. I remember that. Was it yellow?
No, it was gray. It was Raider.
Gray.
Raider gray.
Raider silver, right? All right, we are back here to talk about Raider football, and of course, the nation continues to be in meltdown after Sunday's ugly loss at the Coliseum in the last ever game in Oakland. It did not end well. It started so well and so promising.
Yep.
And in the end, what happened, we will talk about tonight, debate. Chaz and I, I'm sure we'll have some good discussion around this. The Raiders finished their second stint in Oakland with 16 non-winning seasons out of the last 17.
Wow.
Since returning to Oakland in 1995, the Raiders had just 4 winning seasons. That's 20 out of 24 were losing in the Bay Area since going back from L.A. in 1995, Chaz.
That's incredible.
It's incredible. And actually, I think in one way it solidified the Raider fan base, and we'll talk about that a little while.
Yeah.
But what's crazy about Sunday, and I'm looking at our great engineer-producer, Mark Bonilla, because he was texting with me during the game. We were all excited because they were doing well, and then all of a sudden it went to the crapper, so I blame him. But no, we were talking about the game, and it's like it was, again, for the 5th game in a row, the tale of two halves.
Yeah.
This is the first time the Raiders, the third time in 70 games since 2000, so the last 20 years basically, where they were leading by 10 or more with less than 6 minutes left in the game and lost.
Right.
It was such a collapse that the numbers, I'm not going to go into all the numbers because why beat the dead horse, right? But it was epic collapse, 13 points lead in to start the second half. It's not enough in the NFL anymore, Chaz. You can't just win with a 13-point lead. You can't anymore with the way offenses are.
Exactly. And you had another stat, I think, that teams that hold other opponents under 20 points or less, and the Raiders are like 18 and 14 in those games, where other teams are basically like 800.
Correct.
Well,
we're going to talk about some of the
loss for words.
Well, yeah, but we're going to talk about, Chaz, some of the reasoning for that, and what we don't do on this show is blame one person or one position, because it's not. It's a team game. There's a lot of things. There's also coaching. I'm going to delve into coaching tonight.
I pointed the finger at the coaching the last couple of weeks my segments, and
you did.
It's starting to become a little more glaring.
And we're going to talk about that. But as much as they wanted to win this game for Oakland, their weaknesses, at the end of the day, the last 4 weeks, they just can't outrun them, okay? And then you add in the terrible call, and we'll talk about that later.
Ouch.
The sliding call, which the NFL apologized for. It's sort of like, hey, I cut off your arm. I'm sorry. It's like, you can't put it back on. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. You can't go back. And that very could have ended the game for the Raiders, and they could have come out with a win, and Oakland fans wouldn't have been destroying seats. And don't tell me, if you're an Oakland fan, that there wasn't people destroying property, because there was.
No, they just wanted
There's
a souvenir.
video.
Souvenir, that's all. No big deal.
Souvenir and breaking the seats? It wasn't like they were trying to take it. They were just smashing them. But anyway, so we're going to talk a little bit about all of this. And we'll get to it all with a lot of discussion, including the Derek Carr discussion, which is heated up again today because of Michael Lombardi, who we've had on this show many, many times, a good friend of the show, a Radio.com sports insider. And guess what? He's going to be with us Sunday.
Yes.
To talk about the Derek Carr piece he wrote today.
Listen, I didn't realize, being up in Oakland this last week, the Derek Carr thing, I thought it was about 50-50. Positive, negative. It's about 80% up there. They're really negative on Derek Carr. And I, sitting up in the press box with some people that have been, lifelong Oakland and Raider fans growing up in the Bay Area, and they've seen it all from the beginning. They weren't, they didn't hesitate to let it fly on their disappointment with Derek Carr. And I got to witness it firsthand. I'm not that. Derek Carr, to me, he's a middle of the road guy. which I'm fine with. With my basketball background, you only have 5 guys on the court, and so a middle-of-the-road guy, you're not going to get anywhere. But with football, it's a team sport. You've got so many other pieces on that team that need to step up. So for me, having a 14th or 15th best quarterback in the league is okay. Of course, I want top 10. I want a top 5. Yeah, I want a transcendent player like Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson. But those don't grow on trees. So to have a 15th best guy.
Well, and we'll talk about, you just mentioned Patrick Mahomes, and that's a big deal, and I'll tell you why later. But what I want to do first is play you a little post-game sound.
All right.
Because some of this, I'm going to take issue with some of it. But what we're going to do first, we're going to play you a little bit here on what, and some of you already heard this, but as a point of discussion, as a point of order, if we were doing Robert's Rules, I want to play a little bit of Coach Gruden and what he had to say after the game.
We were doing very, very well for a while. You got to credit Minshew. He made some unbelievable plays scrambling. Kept some opportunities alive, and, we got to finish the deal on offense. We had a couple opportunities to do that, and we failed to do so. Really, 3 possessions is all we had. I think we had 1 possession, started our 2-yard line. We did a good job with it. Moved it out of our territory, and I think on a 4th down and maybe a little over a yard, I chose to punt. I think we had 20 first downs. They had 2 at the time. And don't regret it. I do now, but I didn't regret it at the time. Had another possession that, we just came up short on. And at the end of the ball game, I thought we managed it pretty good. Unfortunately, we weren't able to put points on the board, mishandled a pass, and Jacksonville went the distance to beat us.
Yeah, I'm tired of hearing about, we had limited opportunities in the second half. No,
Chaz, tell me how you feel.
I want to hear more of what you're doing to overcome these deficiencies and why it isn't working. Yes, credit the other team for making adjustments as well, but stop giving excuses. Excuses don't hold anyone accountable.
Yeah, and I think that's the issue here, and where I'm starting to have some questions for the coaching staff and for John Gruden, which is, look, 81-point differential in the third quarter, negative 81.
Staggering.
Okay? Negative 81. What are you doing? You can't be by happenstance. It's not all Derek Carr's fault.
No.
Okay? You're not making adjustments. I mean, it's the elephant in the middle of the locker room, as our good friend the AFL Godfather tweeted today, a funny picture.
Yeah.
But you put that out there. It's like you can't come in, it's my fault, Well, it is your fault. For 4 or 5 games in a row, why are you not adjusting? What is the problem? I don't understand how Gruden is paying lip service, and he did touch upon, as he said, look, we're doing well for a while. Yeah, in the first half you were. The second half you came out and you crapped the bed again, okay? And he says we have to finish better on offense. What does that mean?
He's calling out the offense. Last week he said we need to finish better on defense. It's like,
I know.
Is he running under excuses?
But here's the question, Chaz. We do see times, for example, offensive line breaks down. Okay, we see that. You see when the quarterback, Derek Carr, maybe misses a receiver, as we saw that pass to the end zone for Waller when you had Zay Jones coming across the middle wide open.
Right.
Okay, it happens, right?
Yeah, it happens a lot with Derek Carr, unfortunately.
Okay, so that's true. But here's the deal. You're not adjusting they come out, they start doubling Waller
right
in the second half and shutting him down, and you don't adjust. Now some of that's quarterback, but a lot of it is play call. Mm-hmm. And if Derek Carr doesn't check off and goes with the play that Gruden has called, which I'm going to assume happens,
right?
What is going on? Do you not see it after one series? You only get the ball 4 times in the second half.
Yeah, and it's a check down offense. So, it's easier for me sitting up in the press box. I can see the field wide open.
Right.
He's down there in the trenches. He's got these big guys coming after him. Maybe it's not as easy to see a guy, slashing right in
Russell
front of
Wilson
you.
sees it.
A lot of other guys see it.
And he's shorter. No, I get you.
Maybe he shouldn't play with that patch on his eye. I know he's trying to be a Raider, but take the patch.
I gotcha. But here's the thing, too. So we heard Gruden there, and what I want to do here, too, is I want to play sound from Derek Carr because there's some hints in here and some things that I'm taking issue with. And so let's hear Derek Carr, and then we'll come back and talk about that.
Oh, gosh. What's new with our crowd? Yeah, whenever we don't win, that's going to happen. So trust me, it's not under my skin. It's nothing new. I don't know. I know our mindset as players is like, man, we felt confident the whole game, especially in that first half. We were rolling, moving the ball wise, efficient, all things like that. And we just wanted to step on their throat, and we just didn't do a good job of that in the second half. win. So I don't care about anything else. I just want to win. Time I spend away from my family. Sometimes I get home and my kid's already asleep. That's tough, and I do it. Spend all that time to make sure I know what I'm supposed to do, how I'm supposed to do it to the best of my abilities. Know their defense better than some of their players know it, I try and do that so that we can win. And so the process doesn't change. People can be happy, people can be sad, it doesn't matter. I just stick to what I do, and that's hard for people to fathom sometimes, but that's where I stay. I think right now it's just, I just want to see my family, you miss it. You got a lot of memories here and things like that, but, we had a run here and, way longer than I've been here. The Oakland Raiders have been here and things like that. So, you think about all the players and things that, you got to wear the same jersey as and things like that. That's awesome and things like that. But, it'll be, something that you have in the memory banks. But it's life, man. You just keep going.
Indeed, you keep going. But a couple of things here, Chaz, in the couple minutes we have before this first break. Number one, Derek Carr says, hey, look, when we lose games, the Raider fans get on us, they boo us. You've been there, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't get under my skin, he says. When you say that, it means it does. Because you know what? If it doesn't, what you say is, hey, look, they booed us. And you know what? They should have booed us because we lost. And you know what? We got to do better for them.
Right.
He mentions getting under my skin and all this kind of stuff, all right? The question wasn't phrased that well. So these are just tips. These are psychological tips, I think, where the pressure's gotten to him. You can visibly – every press conference the last 4 games is progressively you've seen more and more of this happening.
Right.
Then he mentions 2 times, I just want to see my family. Now, I'm a father of 5.
Yeah.
I was out of the house this morning before my kids were up. I'll be home after they go to bed. I won't see them today.
Right.
Okay? I understand how he feels.
Yeah, of course.
I would love to see my kids. You're a father, too. Same thing.
Yep.
Okay? But guess what? A lot of us do it.
You got a job to do.
There's guys, some fans on Twitter saying, hey, man, I drive 2 hours each way to work.
Mm-hmm.
I spend 4 hours a day in the car, and I don't see my kids. So we all want to be with our families, but you're a professional football player making $18 million a year. So to me, and the only reason I use I don't mean to do that to criticize Derek Carr for his priorities, other than maybe they're not as much football as they used to be.
Right. Some of these things he's saying kind of makes it sound like he doesn't care. We know he cares.
He does, of course. No, he's a good guy. I'm not saying that at all. But it has you wondering where his mental state is, where he's at, because he increasingly doesn't want to talk about football. Now, things are going bad, and you know what? You got to step up, and he starts each press conference now, yeah, it's all my fault, it's my fault, it's my fault. And it's not genuine. It's very flippant, and so you can see that. So Derek Carr is in a situation, I don't know, I'm not in his head, I'm just guessing by what his body language and what he says.
Right.
He's not in a great spot. And we're going to talk more about Derek Carr, of course, when we come up after the break. When we come back, Chaz, we'll first give out your game balls and your bench 'em. So we'll see.
Right.
I'm interested to see.
We
You were
need
up there.
we need to talk some positivity here. I know we got some breaking news, some Pro Bowl news.
We do have some Pro Bowl news. We'll come back. The Pro Bowl selections for the Raiders are in. There are 2 players who made it. I'll let you guess who it is. We'll come back after the break, and we'll give them to you. You're listening to the Silver and Black Tonight here on CBS Sports Radio, 1140.
CBS Sports Radio. When you need inside info on your Raiders, you'll find it here. This is Silver and Black Tonight on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
Welcome back to Findlay Toyota here in Henderson on the Auto Mall. Come on down, check it out. If you're looking for a new car, I mean, what a gift for under the tree.
Well,
okay,
yeah.
It's the front yard tree, but hey. Come on in. Obviously, these people here at Findlay Toyota
It's a really
are
nice
amazing.
place, though. It's really easy.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Totally accessible. You walk in, everybody's just right on you, courteous, friendly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And awesome new models here, Toyota models. Make sure you come check it out. Findlay also a very, very active participant in the Las Vegas community. All kinds of charitable work, sponsorships of athletic stuff, everything. So make sure you come on down and see them and see us.
Yeah.
Come and say, Chaz is lonely.
We've got some giveaways over here, don't we, from the station?
We do. We got some stuff over there.
Yeah.
Of course. We always have freebies. So come on down, check it out, enjoy some Raider talk. So some news now breaking here just in the last hour.
Yes.
Pro Bowl selections. Raiders, 2 players make the Pro Bowl for the Raiders
Only
as starters. Trent Brown, who's injured, and Rodney Hudson.
Yeah.
Well-deserving. He doesn't get a lot of credit, and he's just one of those guys. 4 additional players were tabbed as alternatives. So in addition to Brown and Hudson, guard Richie Incognito, which is well-deserved, coming back from all his trouble and just being an anchor on that line as well. Fullback Alec Ingold, running back Josh Jacobs, of course, and tight end Darren Waller were all named as alternates.
Okay, wait. I get Travis Kelce, but who's a second better than Darren Waller? Darren Waller just went over 1,000 yards for the season in this game.
He did, but you have Mark Andrews in Baltimore.
Come on.
Who is having a good year as well. And, of course, Baltimore is the belle of the ball right now because of Lamar Jackson. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they're a great team, but they have captured the media attention around the country. So Mark Andrews.
So it's a popularity contest.
But who knows? One of these guys might not play. I think Waller will see the field.
Yeah, he should.
As will probably
what an incredible
Josh
season.
Jacobs if he's healthy. He'll be there. He probably won't end up playing.
And I don't know if we're talking about that later on, but Trent Brown and Josh Jacobs, I'd say shut them down for the rest of the season. Right?
I agree.
It's obviously it's a long shot to make the playoffs, but we're really not talking about that anymore.
No, we're going to talk about in the last segment of the show a little bit about that. What I want to do right now, Chaz, again, Scott Branson, Chaz Osborne with you here tonight. Don't miss Sunday show, Silver and Black Today. We do it every week. This week will be our 88th week of Silver and Black Today. No interruptions. 88 straight weeks of Raider football. Find me somebody else who's done it.
Yeah, we've been doing it.
They haven't, because we're the only ones who've done it that long.
That's right.
And we're starting to look like it. But anyway, nonetheless, I'm just kidding. Chaz, every show, he likes to keep a little positive, which I agree with. It was a tough game. But you have a game ball you want to give out to a player, and then we have our bench 'em as well, guys that you think might need to take a break because they're not exactly playing well. Chaz, who gets your game ball?
Well, I mean, Darren Waller was the man again. Eight receptions, 122 yards. So now he's 80 receptions on the season, over 1,000 yards on the season. So,
and a Pro Bowl alternate.
Pro Bowl alternate. Congratulations to Darren Waller. I was up there for training camp in Napa to start the season, and we talked about on the show.
You pegged him early.
And you asked, who's your surprise so far? And Darren Waller was just spectacular, just right out of the gate. So congratulations to him. You got to tip your hat to Josh Jacobs in this game. What an effort. I mean, when you hear GMs and coaches talk about guys with high character and Josh Jacobs, he's a definition of that. For a guy that shouldn't even be out there because of his shoulder injury. And, I saw him in the locker room after the game. He was clearly in pain.
Sure.
He shouldn't have been playing. But, wanting to be out there for his teammates, wanting to be out there for the fans, he's just something special.
Dude, and so is it kind of like a co-game ball for those two guys? Because I think that's a great call. You look at Josh Jacobs, 24 carries with a fractured shoulder.
Yeah. And he was a closer. That final drive, he's just running the ball down the field, no problem, running the clock out. Unfortunately, that call.
The call was terrible.
Yeah.
89 yards again. Darren Waller, 8 receptions, 122 yards, average of 15.3.
Phenomenal. Yeah, but everybody's on Derek Carr because he doesn't go down the field. So how does Darren Waller average 15 yards?
A lot of those are yards after the catch.
Come on.
Okay, so that's good. So the game ball goes to, they cut the game ball in half. They give half to Josh Jacobs and half to Darren Waller. All right, what about bench him? Who are you going to bench?
Well, I mean, a lot of players, these players out there, they're playing hard.
They are.
I'm giving everybody credit. It's a long season, and it's been frustrating. These last 4 losses in a row, just hard to bounce back from. But these guys come out, they give maximum effort. The coaches is kind of what I want to bench. I'm just not seeing the halftime adjustments from Coach Gruden. I'm not seeing, there's a couple of the final drive where Jacksonville went down and scored the winning touchdown. There was 2 all-out blitzes, and I thought to myself, now, Gunther, what's going on with the calls here? Now you want to all-out blitz and leave the middle of the field wide open, and sure enough, easy pass for a score. So I'm kind of pointing the finger towards the coaches again.
So you want to bench the coaches? We'll bring in a new coaching staff.
Can we do that? Listen,
I think it's fair though, and we're going to talk about it because you know what? Look, players have to play the game on the field. There's no doubt about it, of course.
But they're following their marching orders.
But they're following the orders, and that is part of the heart of the matter for me too with the Derek Carr thing, which we'll talk about as well. Mm-hmm. And that is you have people seem shocked, literally shocked, at how conservative Gruden is on offense. And I say to myself, did you not watch the Buccaneers when he coached them?
Yeah. And
did you not watch the Raiders the first night he
playing
coached
not
them?
to lose.
Well, yes.
It gets frustrating.
So, but the way the scheme he runs, maybe it needs to change clearly, especially in second halves. But I'm not surprised by it. And I think people who are surprised by, like, what's Gruden doing? Well, if you've watched what he did in Tampa, even when he won the Super Bowl against the Raiders, it was the same offense. Now, times have changed. You got to adapt it. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm concerned with. I don't see adapting. Derek Carr is a good, as you called him, middle-of-the-road quarterback. Yep. I got no problem with him. He's not a bad quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He does not elevate players like some of the other quarterbacks do. It's just the truth. Each and every week that goes by, it feels like the kind of passion for the game is removed from him. We hear it in the press conference. But then I also blame Gruden for a little bit. Now, Gruden has made him better. Derek Carr has improved over last year. There's no question. So all the people who hate Derek Carr and want Derek Carr gone, fine. I'm not going to change your mind. But he has improved. The yards per pass are greater. The completion are greater.
Completion percentage,
which is a big deal with Gruden. So he's improved there. But you see it again. Starts the first half, 222 yards, 1 touchdown. After halftime, 45 yards, no touchdowns. 45 yards in the entire second half.
I know. I was there firsthand. And it's, the fan base has really turned on Derek Carr after this 4-game losing streak.
You said 80%. You're loose, unscientific kind of straw
just being
poll
up there all week,
there.
And I've got dozens of Raider fan friends, obviously growing up
in the Bay Area,
and in the Bay Area, I've got about
LA.
And mostly LA and San Diego where we grew up, and about 50-50 with my friends, personal friends that say Derek Carr. It's about 50-50. But being up in the Bay Area this last week, boy, it was just everybody I talked to, no love for Derek Carr. And, I'm talking about, pieces to the puzzle. You're trying to build an organization from the ground up, and here's a guy that's middle of the road. He's not going to lose you any games. He's not going to elevate, as you say. And I think he does elevate players. I mean, Darren Waller's a perfect example of that. Look at this guy.
That's not because of Derek Carr, though.
I mean, somebody's throwing him the ball.
Well, I know, but here's the point, though. I see what you're saying. I'm not saying that they don't have a good connection, because they do, clearly. Yeah. And they find each other when you get in that rhythm between a quarterback and a receiver, or a tight end in this case. It makes sense. So you're absolutely correct about that. But I just don't see – he's not led the offense to score all season long, especially the last 5 games. In the second half, they've been outscored, as we said, 101-20 in the third quarter. And they have just 12 fourth quarter points over the last 4 games.
Right.
I mean, so they're not closing games. Again, coaching, yes. Quarterback, yes.
Right.
So
those play calls coming in, he's playing not to lose.
Right, and exactly.
He's playing it safe.
So Gruden's got blame here. There's no question. And I think he's not. He says, "Yeah, that's on me. It's on me." But he's not doing anything to change it. To me, that's the lip service.
Exactly.
That's the lip service and the frustrating piece of it for fans. I know, and it's just not right. But I hear a lot of people today tell me, "Well, we'll talk about the pro Derek Carr people first, okay? Pro Derek Carr people. He doesn't have the receivers. Really? He passed for 222 yards in the first half.
Right.
It worked there.
There's people there. I'm the one that makes all the excuses for Derek Carr as well. The injury in the 2016 season, he comes back, gets injured again in 17. There's no receivers, and 18. You how many offensive coordinators and head coaches has he had in his 6-7 years? So I've always been right there making the excuses as well. But now this year, really, it's kind of been an eye-opening. Watching him and seeing him missing easy, and just a lot of frustrating.
Well, and a lot of the thing about tools, like a lot of it's been focused on, and some of it rightly so, on the wide receivers. Okay?
Yeah.
But I'm looking at the 2 games. I'm looking at 2 games. So let's look at the Raider game. Raiders and Jaguars. Jaguars wide receiving core, so that includes tight ends and running backs. 17 catches for 201 yards. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
On the Raiders side, 22 catches for 267 yards. Now, 122 went to Darren Waller, yes. But if you look at the Jaguars, Cole had 76 yards, Conley had 49, okay?
Right.
The Raiders passed the ball around more. They got more production from their receivers. So it's a myth. Yes, They have big drops. I'm not saying that the Raiders receivers don't have big drops, because you saw Terrell Williams with another big one in this game, okay? I'm not saying they don't have big drops, but the overall production of the wide receivers, the Buffalo Bills beat the Steelers, right?
Right. Same quarterback, second-year guy.
You have a rookie quarterback. You look at Buffalo Bills, They have no receivers. Everybody says, "Oh, well, Brown is good." Yeah, Brown is good. He's developed into a good receiver. 7 catches, 99 yards. Okay, they had 13 catches from their wide receivers and running backs and tight ends. So this whole thing about not having the tools is crap, because here's the deal. He has a top 5 running game. They're 18th in offense, right? Or in receiving, excuse me, and 15th in passing. Okay? Losing Buffalo's 28th in receiving and Baltimore's 30th. Okay. So yes, I know stats can be misleading sometimes, but at the end of the day, there has to be some culpability on his part. I'm not saying I'm not a hate Carr person, you know that. And the listeners know that. And I'm also not a person who believes that Derek Carr does no wrong. And I find that when I have conversations with people, it's one or the other. And that's not the case. It's somewhere in the middle.
Right. You just made your point there. For me, football is running and defense. And you're talking about the Baltimore Ravens 30th with wide receivers. You know why they're so successful? Because they can run the ball and they play phenomenal defense. And the Raiders are starting to get a great running game. The defense, not so great. You've got to have all facets in the game. You know, it's a team effort. And right now, Derek Carr, for me, is fine. You give me something better, I'll definitely take something better.
Well, that's the key, something better. And we'll come back and we'll talk about, we'll talk about Derek Carr some more, as well as that defense and the offense. And we're going to read a little bit of Michael Lombardi's piece. Again, Michael Lombardi of The Athletic. He's also a radio.com sports insider, one of our guys on the team here. He's going to join us Sunday to talk about this in depth, but I want to read, because it was the conversation today in social media around Derek Carr, and I do want to read that as we go through the show here. Again, we're coming to you live from Findlay Toyota in Henderson, of course. Make sure you come on down, check it out, and spend some time with us. When we come back, we'll continue on with the Silver and Black tonight here on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
From Allen to Zog and all the Davises, Jacksons, and Woodsons in between, we've got your Raiders covered. This is Silver and Black Tonight on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
Welcome back to the Silver and Black Tonight, here live from Findlay Toyota in Henderson on the Auto Mall. Come on down, check it out. We got some freebies here, and they have some killer cars here. You got to check it out. And just great people. We got a lot of Raider fans here.
Yep.
And we're going to give a shout-out to Rodney in Sacramento.
Yeah.
The tailgate man, the tailgate king.
Listen, the tailgate scene before the game is always strong.
Absolutely.
And I was out there before the game for about an hour just hanging out. You know, I actually got to talk to Gorilla Rilla was out there.
Yeah,
and then I don't know if you remember the guy. He paints his face white. He wears like those Willy Wonka white.
Yes.
He was in London at the party.
Yeah,
when
he
we
was.
Were in
he was with us. Yeah.
And you know, I asked those guys. I said, you know, what's your what do you? And they said, we're absolutely 100%. We'll be in Las Vegas next year and beyond. So a lot of the loyal Raider fans are still coming. You know, they just. If you're a Raider fan, you're talking about loyalty, you're talking about passion.
And you know what? There's some that aren't going to come, and I get it. You know, some people are upset, and I totally understand. So that's awesome. We also, Ralph Sotelo, right? Yeah, Ralph Sotelo, who is the finance manager here at Toyota, Findlay Toyota. Come on down to him, because you know what? If you're a Raider fan and you want to buy a car and you need help with the financing,
yep.
Ralph's the guy to do it, because he's a Raider fan. He's a 16-year Raiders season ticket holder.
In the black hole.
In the black hole, section 106. So the people in Oakland who are listening, because we do have a lot of listeners up there, 106. Ralph is the guy. He's in the black hole, so he's here, and he's going to have his seats here. Born and raised in Vegas, so dream come true for him. We were talking to him. But come on down and see him. You're going to buy a car, you're going to have to go through him, because he's going to get you the money you need to buy that cool, what is that, a Supra back there, the blue one? Is that the new? That's a Supra. What's the blue one? Oh, the Viper.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm telling you, if my wife would kill me, but I'm ready to walk out with that one. Anyway, but Ralph is
Ralph will give you a good deal.
Yes, 16-year season ticket holder as well. And so when people ask, they always say, you know, and again, shout out to Tailgate Rodney from Sacramento. Vegas Ralph says hello, right? So we'll get it to him. But that's the thing. People always say, well, they're going to Vegas. Who knows if the fans will. And I keep telling people, Ralph, there are a lot of Raider fans here, not only like you who grew up here and that's just a team because they were in L.A., right, when you were young, and so people gravitated towards them, but also there's so many people here from Los Angeles.
Yep.
There's now more people in the state of Nevada that were from California than were born in Nevada. Okay, so there's a lot of Raider fans already here. Raider Nation, again, I said it on the show Sunday, closing the show out. We got you. It's going to be good. There's lots of love here for the Raiders, so you don't have to worry about it as well. So thanks to Ralph for having us here as well at Findlay, so come down and see him. Now, we were talking about Derek Carr, and I want to just kind of finish this up and tease, since we're going to have Michael Lombardi on the show on Sunday to talk more in depth. But I want to read a little bit of what Lombardi wrote today about Carr. And this is the one that's causing a lot of uproar with folks who don't see Derek Carr as anything but a great quarterback. And it's fodder for those who think he's the worst quarterback ever, which he's not, clearly. But anyway, here's what Lombardi said today. There's a significant disconnect between the coach and the quarterback. Gruden and Carr will play nice. They will say all the positives about one another. Still, having been around Gruden for many of those good years in Oakland, remember, Lombardi was there. Okay? He was there. You can call him a failed GM of Cleveland or whatever you want to call him, but Michael knows his stuff, and he knows John Gruden. I know that he loves quarterbacks, he says. The toughness, the grit, the willingness to sacrifice, and competitive drive to match his own. Carr makes too many mistakes with the ball, and whether it's a fair assessment of his ability or not, he never displays the fire that would remind anyone of former quarterback Rich Gannon. Too many times he refuses to hold on for one more second, knowing he might get hit before he reaches the ball. Releases the ball. Carr's not progressing when the play breaks down if Gruden's play call is not perfect. He struggles to create big plays on his own. Usually the defense is at risk when a quarterback breaks the pocket, but when Carr leaves, the defense is never worried, and he is more likely to just throw the ball out of bounds than to make a play.
Yeah.
Ouch.
That's real.
But you know what? And I don't think it's overcritical. I think it's a lot of it is, if you're going to be critical, it's fair.
That's spot on. And in this business, you've got to be able to take that criticism. And like you said, Derek Carr has been kind of deflecting. He's been kind of maybe aloof. He's been a little bit out of there, and it's starting to become concerning.
It is, and we're going to talk more about that with Michael on Sunday, so do not miss that 8 to 10 a.m. on Silver and Black today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140, radio.com app. Yeah. Download it, the rewind function, so when Chaz says something loopy, you can rewind it and hear it again.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. But the second half woes, again, conservative offense, and they're just not making the adjustments. And I just don't understand, Chaz. You know, the coaching, I think they're going to be a lot of changes come off season. I think there's going to be a lot of surprises. You know, a lot of people are like, well, he's a loyal guy. He's not going to blow anybody out. I don't necessarily agree. I think they're learning a lot about their roster. They're learning a lot about the coaching staff.
Right.
And he's going to have to address it. Now, these last two games, I think you have to see Carr rebound.
No,
I think. By the way, I think he's here next year. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. I think he is here next year unless John Gruden falls in love with somebody and moves up in the draft, which I just don't think is going to happen because they have so many needs.
Right, or barring some sort of an Andrew Luck or, I don't know, Teddy Bridgewater
don't start that.
or something. Yeah,
Andrew Luck.
You know what I mean? If something like that happens, of course you're going to jump on that.
Right.
But, no, I believe Derek Carr's here as well. You need to bridge that gap. You're coming to a new city, a new stadium. You're trying to build a new fan base. So definitely you want to have all hands on deck. You want to have the best possible players you can. You're not going to just go out and get an unproven or maybe draft somebody that you're not sure and you have to take 2 or 3 years to build with. You need to come in here guns blazing and start winning some games for this new fan base. And
they're not going to with the way the offense is performing. That's not all on the quarterback. That's not all on the quarterback.
About that maybe there should be some changes. I disagree. I feel like you're growing together. Now you're in your second season. You got a lot of young players here, a lot of moving parts, a lot of injuries this season. So you've got a great foundation with this draft. Now you've got another draft coming up. You're going to get some more foundational players. You're going to keep bringing in these free agents. We've got a lot of money in free agency.
But, Chaz, Miami traded away their whole roster. They have a lot of young players, and they score points in the third quarter.
Come on. Right now we're playing not to lose. Now you're talking about these last two games, and I agree with you. I do want to see some changes. I want to see them open things up.
That's what I'm talking about. Scheme and adjusting to.
Don't be scared anymore. Don't play scared. Right. Don't play to lose. Open things up. And that's what I really thought they were going to do yesterday. It was going to be some gadgets, open it up a little bit more. And I feel like they thought, well, since they had that 16-3 lead, and Gruden said, they had 19 first downs to 2 in the middle of the third quarter, they were just kind of playing like,
but again,
safe.
But again, and you cannot do that in the NFL anymore.
No. You cannot keep your gas.
When you have a 13-point lead.
If you're Findlay Toyota, you keep your foot on the gas pedal.
Nice. See, that's what I call about just plug in the sponsor like you wouldn't believe. But here's the deal: it's not 1974. You cannot sit there with a 13-point lead and think it's enough.
Right.
It's not the old NFC Central or now the NFC North where it was the Bears and the 5 yards in a cloud of dust. That's not what it is anymore. So even people, Gardner Minshew's a backup quarterback. You know what? He can be electric at times. He's got a terrible team around him, but he did what he had to do.
Yeah.
So you can't be comfortable. Carr said it in the post-game press conference. We needed to stick our foot in their throat in the second half, and we didn't do it.
And the defense.
And that's what has to happen.
And here we are at Findlay Toyota. The defense ran out of gas in the second half.
Oh my gosh. You gonna get Ralph's APR in here in a minute? All right, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna close out the show. We'll finish up on the Raiders' loss. Also, we'll talk a little bit about the last game in Oakland. Chaz was up there covering it for us live, So don't go anywhere. We'll finish out the show strong. You're listening to the Silver and Black tonight here on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
When you need inside info on your Raiders, you'll find it right here.
Raiders defensive line coach Brenton Buckner.
We're not trying to be the best pass rushers we can be. We're not trying to be the best run stoppers we can be. We're trying to be the best football players we can be.
With your Walker Furniture Raiders Daily, I'm Mark Thomas. The Silver and Black met with...
My favorite thing about our team is our Madden ratings are really low, but we're pretty good at football.
Knock on wood if you're with me.
Raider Nation rallies with us. CBS Sports Radio 1140.
Hey, Los.
Raider Nation rallies with us. This is Silver and Black Tonight on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
Welcome back. Silver and Black Tonight coming to you live from Findlay Toyota in Henderson. Mark's shaking his head in disgust at me because I flubbed it. And he's giving me the pinkies, which is a clean version of what.
Is that bad?
Oh, my goodness. I'm insulted. Anyway, we're back. We're talking Raiders football. And, yes, we've kind of been beating the dead horse a little bit, but we wanted to get into discussion around what happened on Sunday. Want to switch gears a little bit now, Chaz, and talk about you were up there Sunday.
Yeah.
For the quote-unquote farewell game.
Let's talk about the positive side of it. It was a good time. All the loyal, passionate Raider fans were out there for the last game. We talked about the tailgate. Obviously, tailgating in Oakland is a one-of-a-kind experience. You've never been there, unfortunately. You've seen it.
I've been there.
It's just incredible.
I've never been there. I've been there.
You've been to Oakland?
Absolutely.
And you made it out alive?
I did.
Oh.
Barely. I walk funny now, but I made it out.
But, just the scene... Tim Brown, Marcus Allen, Charles Woodson lighting the
Marcus Allen thing was weird to me.
Well, he is more of an L.A. Raider.
He didn't play in Oakland.
But he's a Raider. Once a Raider, always a Raider.
Understand.
He's one of the greatest Raiders of all time.
But it was like a goodbye to Oakland. It just kind of was odd.
No, but just to see all those old-timers out there on the field, just what a special moment for the fans. Unfortunately, it was a hapless way to end a great run by, a historic franchise. And, that's a hard-working, loyal football city. And they deserve better than the ending of that game. But, do
they?
They do.
They tore apart seats and threw crap on the field.
They were just getting souvenirs. Everybody's saying, well, they finished up in Raider
wait a minute,
fashion.
Let's talk about what you told me in the break. So you were walking around the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of anti-Mark Davis stuff, which is totally fine. I get it.
A lot of F.
He quote unquote took their team away, so I get that. Like,
a lot of
I got no problem with that.
F Las Vegas. F
we've
Mark
been
Davis.
around Mark Davis. He's very nice to us. He's very professional.
He's great. And you can't blame Las Vegas, for.
But the Las Vegas thing again, it's just the hate over Las Vegas. I get it's sort of like, okay, my girl's now going out with that guy, so I hate the guy even though the girl left me.
Right.
It's that kind of principle, right? And you shouldn't hold it against them. They didn't do anything.
No, it's understandable.
They were just sitting at the bar and she came up.
Right. And you got to do what you got to do. If the city of Oakland, they just lost the Golden State Warriors. They don't want to build them a new stadium. They don't want to put any money towards the Oakland Raiders to build them a new stadium. Well, if the city of Oakland's not cooperating, what are these teams supposed to do? Now you've got the Oakland A's kind of thinking the same thing. So
I think though that you look at the second stint in Oakland. We talked about the numbers. 20 of 24 seasons in Oakland since 1995 were losing seasons. So Raider fans, I feel for them because they are so loyal, and they are, to me, the best fan base in all of football. There's no question. That includes the Oakland, that includes the L.A. folks, and now the Las Vegas folks. They're all part of that nation. And the folks, we were talking to Ralph. He went and saw the Jets game in New York, right? He said there was a ton of Raider fans there. They're on the East Coast. They're in Kansas City. There's a big Raider, imagine that, fan club. So they're everywhere. And so it hurts them to see what happened in that last game. But in many ways, I also think that Mark Davis is getting a bad rap for what he said in the interview, which is being taken out of context, where they said, do you feel any kind of, are you reminiscing about your time in Oakland? He's like, no, this happened in 82. And they're making it sound like he didn't have any appreciation, whereas the story the day before in NBC Sportsnet from our buddy Scott Bair said, where he said, no, Oakland will always be part of our DNA. It's always part of our history, and we love Oakland. So they're taking it and fueling the fire a little bit.
Right. A lot of things get taken out of context, too.
They do. But overall, though, besides the end of the game and the second half, great experience, though, right? Everybody was having a good time. There's so many memories.
It was a party. The whole
generational piece of it, everything was phenomenal.
And you talk to people; they've been season ticket holders. One guy said he hasn't missed one game in 25 years. Another guy, I didn't even go to my son's wedding because there was a Raider game that day. These are the fans we're talking about.
Which is a little much to me.
It is a little much.
You missed the wedding. So, one of those things. But anyway, as I said on Sunday, Chaz, look, I think for those fans, there's nothing I can say that's going to make up for the fact that you can't just drive down the highway and see your team.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're going to be good here. They're going to have a beautiful home here. They have a lot of fans here, like Ralph we talked about.
Right.
And so they're going to be in good hands. It's going to be different. The tailgating is going to be different. It's not going to be the same. That's not going to happen again. It sucks.
Yeah.
But it's not going to happen again.
Definitely one of the best parts of going to Oakland.
Yeah.
But like I said, I talked to Gorilla in the parking lot before the game. He said, of course, he's coming. I saw some interviews with the Violator and other people. They said, of course, we'll be going to Las Vegas. They're Raider fans. They're coming. It's just
yeah. No, and it was a weird ending, but it was a weird second stint in Oakland with everything that happened there, how they got there, and of course Al Davis dying and the team not doing well. And I really think that there's a new start that will help the Raiders.
It's time for the next chapter.
Right.
And let's just close the book on that chapter. We're going to open a new chapter in Las Vegas. It's going to be a positive. It's going to be a winning. I think we've already got a great foundation. Mm-hmm. And when they get to Las Vegas.
And it might be a new start.
It's going to be a fresh start.
Might be a fresh start with a new quarterback or not a new quarterback. You never know. We'll see what all happens. But it's going to be an interesting offseason. But we got 2 more weeks left, and we're going to preview the game against the Chargers, a home game in Los Angeles, because the Silver and Black, the Raider Nation,
That'll
will
be
take
an
80%.
It over.
It will.
Fan.
And Michael Lombardi will be with us. Also, Gilbert Manzano of the Orange County Register joins us Sunday, 8 to 10 a.m., Silver and Black today. Chaz, have a good night, man.
You
For Chaz Osborne, I'm Scott Branson. You've been listening to Silver and Black tonight. We'll talk to you on Sunday. Thanks, everybody.
Las Vegas is a Raiders town, so keep up with the team as they set their sights on making our town their home. Hi, it's Scott Branson, host of Las Vegas's only all-Raiders talk show, Silver and Black Today. Be our guest every Sunday from 8 to 10 a.m. as we talk all things Silver and Black. Interviews with coaches, players, and Raiders greats are all part of the agenda. That's Silver and Black Today, Sunday, 8